Hey brother! Ben, not to talk fast because the intro has been acting up a little bit lately and I'm afraid that if I don't talk fast it's just gonna pop up and interrupt me right in the middle. Ah, stupid intro. I don't know what's been getting into that thing lately. Hey, does this look like a snake is coming out of my mouth? Ah. So Ben, we all have fears, myself included. I mean, nothing too unusual. Giraffalence, Muppets, crippling loneliness. The door. We didn't know there was a door right there. Well, there is, and it creeps me out. You want to know why? Well, I'll show you why. Never open the door. But it is perfectly okay to be afraid of something. In fact, a lot of times it's a good thing, and I'll get to that in a second. What it is less okay to do, though, is to confuse fears and phobias. A lot of people use the phrases, I'm afraid of, and I have a phobia of, interchangeably. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been on an elevator and someone's been like, oh, I hate being in elevators, I'm so claustrophobic. Well, I have news for you, my friend. If you are already on the elevator, then you do not suffer from claustrophobia. Now, I'm not saying that small space doesn't actually make you uncomfortable, and it's okay if it does. And to be fair, I don't know of a great word to describe that feeling, but general uncomfortableness and fear are not the same thing as a phobia. So then what is the difference between the two? Well, like I said earlier, fear is a good thing. It is your body's reaction to perceived danger. It's what stops you from doing stupid things like touching a hot stove or drinking and driving or poking a bear while it's sleeping or watching a Muppets movie. Fear is one of our basic emotions and it is kind of an uncomfortable one. Your heart rate will rise, you'll sweat, your blood pressure will rise, and these are all actually really helpful things if you're in a life or death situation. What your body is doing is preparing you for fight or flight, whether you're going to take the situation head on or run away. And actually I heard they just added in freeze, which I really hope is no one's natural instinct because it does not seem like it is going to be a very high survival rate for you. The thing is, your body is going to react this way even if it's not life or death, even if it's just public speaking or going to a scary movie or Muppets, which may or may not be life or death, we don't know. Phobias, on the other hand, are much worse. The phobia is having an extreme fear of something even when it is not present, and even if that thing were present, your fear would be blown way out of proportion. But the main identifiable difference between fear and phobia is that a phobia is life-limiting, or even life-altering. So let's look at one of the most common phobias, ophidiophobia, which is the fear of snakes. Let's say, for example, you come home from work one day, head into your room, and discover that, hey, there's a poisonous snake on my bed. If you're just afraid of snakes, you will probably just very quickly leave the room, close the door, and then call someone who can help you get rid of that snake. And that is a very helpful and reasonable response that fear has helped you solve. But if you suffer from ophidiophobia and you come home and notice that the door of your room is closed, you might not even open the door because maybe there's a snake on your bed. And that's kind of ridiculous because there's not a snake on your bed. If you have a phobia of an elevator, not only will we not find you on an elevator, but you might have canceled a trip like 2 months in advance because maybe there was going to be an elevator at the hotel that you were going to have to ride. It can change how you live your life. You might cancel on different social groups. You might miss certain opportunities. It's not good. Then of course the other half of the problem is how people might begin to treat you. If you have to cancel on a social group of friends because you are afraid of germs, that opens you up to a little bit of ridicule, and chiding and embarrassment is not going to help the situation because most people are aware that they have a phobia, that they have this fear, and that it is irrational, and there is nothing they can do about it. The most important thing to remember if you encounter someone with an actual phobia is that it is not a sign of weakness or immaturity or lack of willpower. It is an actual biologically explainable condition that they cannot help. What's happening in your brain is that your amygdala, which is responsible for triggering your emotional responses, is misfiring fear into something very specific. And this could be caused by any number of things. Maybe a bad experience you had when you were a child, or general anxiety, or genetics, or any number of other things. Anyway, the good news is that phobias are totally treatable, but you probably do need to seek professional help, not something you might be able to tackle on your own. Anyway, Ben, I do not personally suffer from any sort of crippling fear or phobia, or even know anyone who does, but I have certainly dealt with general fears and humiliation, and I came across this article and just felt that discerning this distinction was something I really wanted to talk about today. So my question for you and everyone else is, what are you afraid of? Do you actually suffer from a phobia or know someone who does? Please feel free to share about it down in the towel section below, and I hope everyone will be very open-minded and supportive about what anyone might say down in the towel section. Ben, that is it for me, but I will see you in another life, brother.
Thank you for watching Super Carlin Brothers. Go, Grizzly Eagle Shark!
Ben, you want to know someone you should be afraid of? Darth Vader. There's a lot of things you can do to prepare yourself there, and I did a whole video about him last week which you can watch over there. And then someone you should not be afraid of is Batman, unless you're a criminal, in which case you should totally be afraid. But Ben talked about all the politics of being Batman and whether or not there should even be one. It was a really, really good one. I greatly enjoyed it, highly recommend. If you didn't see them last week, go check them out.